Okay, so today is Friday. This is our second Friday doing this. We are taking a look at the latest leaks or reveals, depending on how you look at it, from Fateless for their game Godforge. This week, it's actually a particularly large amount of images. I've taken a look at like the previous couple weeks, and it's only ever like one or two or three, just giving a showcase of like what a new character looks like visually. Like last week we talked about Beowulf. This is it's like 12 images or something, and it's all related to the. And I looked this up. I looked this up beforehand. I apologize for if I mispronounce things. I'm very bad at pronouncing things. It's called the Ceiba faction. So this is a faction that is likely based off of South American native culture, and will likely have gods and myths and legends as characters of part of the faction. But as such, it gets its own level in Godforge, and this is some of the concept art that is going to go into the level design. So we're going to take a look at that today. Yeah, I really like. I'd really like to see some more of this. Actually, getting to see some more of the smaller detail stuff. Um, I'm a big fan of like set design and like populating buildings and streets and things like that. I find that particularly fun. Like if I were to play a Sims game, my favorite thing about a Sims game isn't, playing as your sim and cooking and cleaning and whatever. I like the building part where I get to populate my house with a bunch of stuff. So this speaks a little bit closer to what I enjoy and things that I like to look at. So we're going to take a look at some of this concept art, and it looks like a lot of this has been at least pushed to their art team for finishing out for 3D models, because these look like finished concepts. So let's see. We're going to see a lot of various graphics and graphism that is very evocative of the Ceiba faction as a whole. There's an identity that's clear here, that's going to be repeated a lot, and we're going to see that in some of the architecture. I really enjoy the size comparison stuff too. I think a lot of games, at least when they're in the concept phase and they're showing off things, don't really give an accurate like size comparison, and you really need that. Like I'm thinking about Ark. So when you're playing Ark and you like tame a dino or something, and then you go to ride it and you realize that the dino is a billion times bigger than you, or you accidentally kill a tiny dino and you realize it's literally the size of you. It's like the scaling is just really weird. So I like seeing this, and I definitely want to see this more with some of the heroes maybe scaled next to each other. But we've got some pottery. This will be like simple stuff. We've got a thatched hut. Is this an Australian thatched hut? Oh man, I wish I would have prepared those images so this could at least be somewhat funny and relevant to everybody. Go look up Australian thatched hut. Spiffy gazebo. I like this. I like that it's modular too. Um, it's sure if you want to do a different level design where you have it up against a wall and it's like the overhang for a market stall or something like that. Cool. If you want it out in the open, and you want like a table underneath it or whatever, you can make it. You can reverse it and put them together because it's modular. It looks like the actual. I almost said thutch, like a that thatched hut. I can't say it. A thut. This is actually modular itself, so you can make it smaller. They could theoretically be added onto each other, so like you can make a big row of them or something. I don't know. It'd be cool to see like a market with these. I don't know what the stage design is going to be like um, in terms of outside of a normal campaign stage. Um, like, will we interact at all with the architecture and the thatch huts and things like that through any of the other menus or game modes? I don't know. But it'd be cool to see these in different forms. Mesoamerican tall building. Okay, this is the Ceiba faction flag. I did see that we might be getting assets for all of the faction flags, so we can take a look at that in the future. We see some more motifs. I really like the detail that they've gone into here, showing off the different texturing on the actual building. And it kind of shows like age here, right? There's some damage. Moss has grown all up at mini garden palm trees. South and Central America, I am not particularly versed in terms of flora. I'm assuming, at least in the Godforge world, it's temperate enough for palm trees, and that's fantastic. Palm trees are great. I'm a little concerned with all this blood. That's a lot of blood. This person just standing up there like, I'm the king of the castle. I'm curious if maybe at some point, maybe during a fight, we like go up the actual pyramid and go into that room or something like that. Or if this will be like kind of off in the distance or something. I don't know. I like it. It looks good. Looks pretty large too. But not like crazy, crazy huge. Okay, more graphisms. I did grab these kind of in a random order, so maybe these were meant to be looked at in a certain order. I don't know. I don't really care. It would have been actually really interesting. So these... I mean, clearly these are, yeah, they're snake heads. Clearly these are like intentionally designed to be like animals or whatever, to be applied to different like potteries or the sides of buildings or whatever. But these things, these like very square geometric patterns that would likely also be on the sides of buildings and walls and things like that, could be interesting to see one that's like randomly generated. Like you have each square is like a pixel with like some guidelines where you randomly generate. That way you could have just like interesting and unique patterns. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I'm not totally focused. I'm thinking in a totally different direction. I've also not looked at like real life pyramids like this hard. So I don't know what's like typical and whatnot, but this is interesting. Extruded snake line. Clearly this is maybe the side of some building, some wall. Whoa. Okay. Tread marks left behind by ancient aliens. There you go. Like crop circles. I really like this. Again, I'm like, is this really going to come through in a mobile game? Like, this is in a 3D render, right? But, I mean, if it's just a flat texture that looks like this, it could look pretty good. But, man, this could look really, really nice. Orange fungus. Maybe there will be like a procedurally... I think earlier on in the development of the game, Simon had talked about a way that they had thought to build the stages so that they were just like essentially like Minecraft chunks, where a chunk looks like this. It's this big. It has these things in it, and they're made to sort of fit together like Legos or whatever, or like pieces of train tracks or something like that. You know, like they're meant, at least at the very edges, that they could seamlessly integrate, so that you could put any, or at least maybe in some combination of them together, and it would flow seamlessly. Like maybe you couldn't put the Ceiba ones next to the, the jade ones that represent China. Like that'd be a pretty bizarre turn, but that might have been before they changed directions with the game from whatever it was before. So I don't know. Look, no one expects this Spanish Inquisition, okay? Anyway, it seems very modular. It seems pretty nice. I really enjoy this. Looks really clean. I'm a very texture focused artist. Like I like painting with a lot of texture, so I really like this. Whoa. Oh my god, what was that show? What was that show? Olmec. I know this is not the same, or likely not the same at all. But this just triggered a lot of very happy memories for me. And it reminded me of Olmec. That's it. Super cool. I don't know. I think both are cool. Olmec heads are way rounder, but it made me think of that too. Yeah. Super cool. I guess these are like kind of simple shapes, so like theoretically it doesn't add too much strain to the engine, depending on how many you have. But this could be like, I mean, look at the scaling. Like this is double the size of a person. You could have maybe like a couple of these kind of along your train track or something. Again with the texture, man. This looks really good. More orange fungus. I want to know more about the orange fungus. Why is there so much of it? Fungus faction? Maybe? I don't know. This is super clean. And there's like more of these motifs. The random square graphism stuff. Pretty nice. And it's like, yeah, there's some stuff going on around their neck. That's really cool. I hope, and I think this has been a pretty talked about thing, like, and a pretty responded to thing. I'm happy that there will be a pretty diverse group of characters. And I'm hoping that that is also showcased in character models, if that makes sense. People have been like, oh, well, like, you've got a lot of Greek gods, you've got a lot of, Northern Europe gods. Like, well, what about Native Americans? What about, Africa or things like that, besides like Egypt? And Simon and a bunch of the Fateless people have always been like super forward, like, yeah, we're going to have we're going to have cultures from all over the world represented here. And that's super cool. I just hope that that also reaches towards character models. That's a different discussion. I'm getting off topic. I'm just thinking about like, whoa, what if this kind of kind of ceremonial character. I don't know who this is meant to be. I don't know who Pakal is or what Pakal is, but anyway, we keep moving on. Easter Island statue heads a bit as well. Yeah. That's fair too. Yeah. There's also man, I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad with remembering. There's a couple other gigantic heads like that are just like strewn about, like in jungles and things. Yeah, I can't remember the names, but all that stuff's really neat. This I thought was particularly interesting. Somebody in the Discord was talking about this. I can't remember who, and I'm not going to look it up now and derail, but somebody was talking about how this could be a potential interactable. So this is meant to be a calendar, and the pieces of the structure move so that you represent a specific day or time or whatever, and then you change it somehow. So I'm wondering, guessing there are giant stone Buddha. Yeah, that too. Someone was saying that, oh, maybe you could interact with this and unlock things. Like there's going to be the mastery system that's kind of tied to a system like achievements. Like if you do certain things in the game, you get masteries that are unlocked on every character. Like, oh, if you put in, Hell Hades' birthday, you'll get like a special character frame on your portrait or whatever. And I thought that was really cool. I've advocated for this before, but I really hope, and I didn't want to I didn't want to highlight Raid Shadow Legends in this video, but one of the downsides of Raid is that I can't click anything. Like, I can click into the buildings, but like, even when it's like winter time, I can't break anything. It's not like Hearthstone where, you clicky on the board and you like break stuff. Like that's fun. So I'm hoping like you can interact with this in some way, or like the pots that are in the actual campaign missions, and like click them until they break or whatever. Use it as an event calendar, yeah. Maybe have it in such a logical way that you know when new events are coming up, or maybe it's a countdown timer or something like that. I really like it, and it obviously has all the same motifs. And you could probably do something like this in a multitude of different factions in different ways. Not exactly like this, obviously. It's really cool, really on theme, and very, very interesting. I'm sure something like this in the real world exists, but I am not educated enough. This is a big fucking building. Holy God. This is the one we looked at before on the right side. This is the tall building. What is this building then? This is the super building. This might be a building that you see in like the overworld, that you click in because this is the one that represents the faction the most. The details kind of aren't there. Like you could see the repeating patterns and like the tiling or like stonework, but you can't see like stairs. The grass is just like a flat green. There's a lot of blood again. Like this might be one that's like super zoomed out in the overworld. You click on that one because it looks like the faction, and then you go into a more refined area. Because I can't see a battle happening where you climb this, even though that would be kind of cool. There's a battle like this in World of Warcraft. It's is it in Fateless? or what's that one dungeon? Zul'Gurub. Yeah, Zul'Gurub, where you free the prisoners at the top of the pyramid, and they fight with you. It's in Daenerys. That's right. That's right. Um, they fight with you, and you can like stand back on the pyramid steps, but they're like the bad guys are trying to rush up because there's like a portal or something happening at the top of the pyramid, and you've got to like hold them off. It could be cool to do it from like the other way where you've got to like fight your way up. Interesting. Interesting. That fight was always so cool, especially as a DPS. Like I could just sit back on my warlock and attack from afar. They glitch out on the stairs, bug the dungeon. Good luck. Now you have to solo it because your teammates are bots. Okay, so we've seen these on a couple different things. It's cool that these are pretty faithful to the real life examples of these little snakeheads. I think this gives me a little bit, I mean, not that I didn't have hope for this, but this gives me hope towards the other factions in that we will see potentially real life things. This is just an example, but like the lion statues at the foot of a Chinese temple or something like that. Very, very similar, like swirly patterns and things like that. Like we might see other real world things that are represented pretty faithfully. That sort of brings it a little bit closer to home, Oh, good point. Yeah, good point. So Non says, it's possible the end product looks very little like what is around at the moment. Yeah, so just like the demo that we took a look at previously, this is this is concept art. That's all this is. This is something that might have been finished a while ago. We don't know. And more decisions could be made to change these things. Like sometimes polygon counts are super tight and you've got to figure out where you can cut them. Or maybe you just decide to go in a totally different direction. Like just concept art. Okay, we got building. Wait. Was this on the other one? Normal building. Yeah. This is normal building. So it's like a third smaller than the tall building. Oh, we see a character here. It could be nice. I mean, this is just concept art, right? But if we got like actual characters next to these buildings, I'm a really big scaled person. I really like those images that are like a big cavern. And you're like, whoa, that looks like a big cavern. And then you see like in the illustration, the artist has drawn like the people super, super small. And you're like, holy shit. That's a huge cavern. Or like they're fighting a dragon and they do the same thing. This has a... Yeah, he's like on this side. I meant just sort of like everywhere that there's a building, but might be a bit too much. I'm nitpicking. We see like literally everything represented on this building. We've got the snake heads, the patterns, these extruding lines. There we go again. The frickin' orange fungus. Who is this guy? It's everywhere. It's probably significant. Is it invading? We need to take a... If the next leak, or whenever the next leak, that's a faction building based one, also has orange fungus, then we know it's not a coincidence. Like maybe this is just because of the humidity of the area or whatever. But maybe it's something else. It grows around birds and predatory animals. Interesting. Is it because of the byproducts of the animal? Like the But we're gonna have to look into this. Gods, myths, and legend. I heard of a legend of an orange fungus man creature. There better be a cryptid faction. Are you kidding me? Mothman? Orange fungus? Sam Squamch? Oh. Oh, this is building 2. Building 1. Thatched roof. Sam Squamch. Ricky. I think I like this building a little bit better. It looks like a building I'd build in Ark. Looks really cool. More blood. Oh, it's red paint. It's red paint. Here it's paint. On the temple, it's definitely friggin' blood. There's like red paint along the sides, but that is blood. It cannot convince me. Orange fungus again. Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the developers. If I were to make this stuff, I know as myself, I would want to hide tidbits in the graphism. I'm imagining that in the real world, these things have either symbolic meaning or literal meaning. Maybe they could be tied to language or something else. And if that is the case, then I would want to use that in such a way where I hide a message or I hide something. Because these, I mean, this is just concept, right? So they're just like using these as examples, like space fillers, right? But in a finished product, I'd want to hide a message there for like the one person who figures it out. That's cool. I think I like this building a little bit more than this one, just personally. They're making red enemies. Whoa. I had not seen this one before. Oh, we've got like the... This is like the old mech guy. I like didn't see this one before. Blood. This is 100% either they are making red enemies, and that's to combat the orange fungus, or this was a sacrifice. On there's a skeleton there. Ugh. I really like the these like snake heads with the manes around them. Maybe they're not snakes, but this could be a a really nice boss arena, right? Maybe some kind of spirit or something comes out of the altar, or you fight something here in the middle of it, Early attempts at summoning. I feel like I know what that is. Oh. Non in chat just made a Blade the movie reference. God. I like this this scene though. This is nice. This will be nice when it's like an actual in-game render. I think this will look really nice. Oh, and there's Beowulf. So that's it. I'm really liking the temples and this building. The modular. This I think tells a little bit more about the game. They're building things in such a way that they are replicatable and modular, which may not mean anything right away, but it opens up avenues in the future. They're not making sort of one-off things that they can't use in other places, right? And it could even be that these get, recolored, and instead of thatch, they put cloth on it, and it's, something a little bit easier to do to save on cost. But, I think overall this was a pretty juicy reveal, and I'm excited. I don't know if every week is going to be like this. This is crazy. If next week's only like one image, and it's like, oh, we're going to add, Odin to the game, which, like, we already know they're adding Odin. Odin's in the game, but like a no-brainer. Then it's going to be a little disappointing, right? This is such a good leak. Unless it's Wukong. If they announce that they're adding Wukong to the game, I've thought about this. And I said this in the Discord, if Wukong isn't in the game on launch, I'm gonna not play the game in protest. That's a lie, but I thought about, like, there could be so the word vex, the word vexatious go so well together with the Monkey King and his abilities. So I'm saying that it's probably really easy to name his abilities with some form of the word vex. And that's it. Anyway, that's it for today's Friday leak. We'll do this again next Friday. I do these live every Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will probably go live on YouTube on Saturday. So sorry if you're seeing this on YouTube, but you can see it first on Twitch live. Anyway,